all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more. Guyana got things, we growing wings and developing things. The government real and that's a big deal. I'm singing from my heart, Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I... This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more. Guyana got things, we growing wings and developing things. The government real and that's a big deal. I'm singing from my heart, Guyana. I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I... This is Quincy Anderson. You know I love my country. There's no other country better than mine. Welcome to Guyana, land of 6 races, 6 different faces, and we all live in love. Guyana is a beautiful country, no other can compare. Got everything right here, so no other can compare. Guyana is made up of so many natural resources. We don't need no forces, cause we got enough resources. Let's talk about bauxite, gold, diamond, and rice. We got it right here. Guyana ain't going nowhere. We got enough oil too. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. One Guyana, I love Guyana. Guyana, my country, my home. The only place I call home. Hey, hey, Guyana is nice, Guyana is fun, Guyana is clean, Guyana is green, Guyana got oil, Guyana got gold, Guyana got young and Guyana got old. I ain't talking no more.
We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere, make no mistake. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
We love the open county of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right.
We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river peaceful people struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere, make no mistake. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass.
We love the open county of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right.
We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass, not a blade of grass. We ain't giving up no mountains, we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one grass.
Oh yes, a lot of you gon' vex.
Good morning, Livewire team. Just give me 2 minutes. I'm organizing some stuff for the show this morning that ran a little late. 2 minutes, please.
There's a child in every home and every community. They will grow up to be symbols of unity. They'll be colorblind to race and ethnicity. That's the vision of a leader like President Irfan Ali. I'm talking about the one Guyana where our people can live in peace, where every race trusts each other, where racial prejudice no longer exists. Our children will have one Guyana to grow up in a land united and free with equality and blessed with prosperity. For too long we've been fighting one another. It's race against race, but in the end the country suffer. Oh, we were born here, not in India nor Africa. But if we can't get along, the foreigners gon' eat we suffer. We must put an end to racism. Let it end now with this generation. Together we'll develop this nation. Make Guyana the gem of the Caribbean. Don't listen to them wicked politicians who will divide us to win an election. Believe it or not, Guyanese no smarter than that. Yeah, I told you, It's your boy Podmore. Unity is the key. We are all one and we should be treated as one. Our ancestors were slaves and laborers, but the life they endured made it better for us. We honor their sacrifice and the freedom they bought for we. But some descendants of slaves use that to fuel the rich. It doesn't matter what's your skin color, when we bleed blood it's red the same. Let's respect and love one another. When a brother cry, we must we're Portuguese, African and Indian. We're Chinese mixed up, we're Amerindians. We're all Guyanese. Let's end this segregation. I'm appealing to Guyanese in the diaspora. We welcome you home. We've got a lot to offer. It's not the same place that you run away from. Come see the paradise Guyana has now become. I'm talking about the one Guyana where our people can live in peace, where every race trusts each other, where racial prejudice no longer exists. Our children will have one Guyana to grow up in a land united and free with equality and blessed with prosperity. It's a message. I just want you to understand. Stop and think for a minute. Really think for a minute. If we can't fix the present, then we should work on the future.
Nobody not selling out. We talking facts. Facts we dealing with. Nobody not selling out. We talking facts. I been to Guyana, man. I have to go back. The way how the country looking, man, they left me shocked. Who's ever in charge? Them put we on the map. The men them look healthy. The girls them look hot. I went to a meeting. I don't know if chicken curry. Them Guyanese eating, man. The government working. The government working. The government working. The government working. The government.
The government working. Yes. Good morning again to all the Livewire viewers. Sorry about the late start. Tying up some loose ends. I got 3 counselors coming on the program this morning to talk about the statutory meeting yesterday. I was so glad that Councillor Dion Young took the initiative to ask pertinent questions, and it had the council in uproar. So we'll be discussing some of that this morning. We'll be having Councillor Stephen Jacobs, Councillor Alfonso de Armas, and Councillor Dion Young dropping by the Livewire this morning to share with you guys. I don't know how many of you had a chance to look at the Freddie Kissoon interview with Sanjeev Dattadin. If you didn't, guys, please take a look at it. Go back, have a look at it. The attorney at law, very eloquent as normal, and I'm waiting to see the outcome of certain matters that are before or being litigated currently. Morning to all the people. Morning to everybody across the 10 administrative regions. Morning to all the persons across the diaspora. I'm in a good mood this morning. I'm really in a good mood. Had a really good phone call before the show started, so I can't complain at all. Guys, big up everybody in the comment section. Morning to you guys, Rahim Amarali, Chris, Balwant Danraj, Eunice. Special good morning to you and Rita. Datan Andalal, morning to you. Ormila Gusai, good morning. Vishnu Narain, good morning to you. Philip Diabru, Jinan Suku, Cecil Rampasad, Salome, Jorajinat, Betty Chris, Salim Khan, joining us from NYC. Nadia, morning to you. Alan Khan, morning to you. Alan screaming out, one Guyana. That's what we care about. One Guyana. All of us Guyanese moving together as one. Sunita Sukraj, morning to you. Pam, special morning to you and Trevor. I hope all is well with you guys. Faisal Ghani, morning to you. Michael, joining us from Barbados, morning to you. Ion Bipat, also joining us from Barbados, morning to you. Raji Maraj, good morning. Jean Cornelius, Gayatri Baldio, Neil Ramlokan. Lash PA, big up yourself, my brother. This guy is a good guy. This guy is a good guy. Working with a good company, doing great things. Leslie Mongol, morning to you. Sally Jones, Ashmi Bazdio, Rajendra Mahes, good morning to you. Richard Stanislas, Philip Gonraj, morning to you. Narain Singh, Omar Sharif, Philip Diabru. Anybody see Marisha Sami? Somebody please locate Marisha Sami for me, please. I'm not being seeing her and I'm worried. I think I have to call her after the program and see what's going on. Marisha, please show yourself. Sherwin Siram, morning to you. Ramnarain Singh, Bibi Kali Chiran, Soma Bipat, good morning to you. Ronald Jones, big up yourself. I got confirmation that the people would have received your email. So let's look forward to some kind of feedback pretty soon. Lola Hari, Maureen Razio, Henry Jagdio, morning to all of you. Rafi Singh, Deal Henry, Jamila Kayum, morning to you. Sarah Mosley and Hill, good morning to you. Joshua the Sergeant, Suknandan Bud, morning to you. Shane, morning. Clarence, morning, joining us from Ontario. Lana Ramaya, Lana, morning. Magdalene Henry, morning to you. That's an interesting name. I haven't heard that in a while. Magdalene, right? Shakila Khan, morning, everybody. Chris Diodat, morning. Jonah Bijan from Canada, morning. Miss DeClue, morning. Stanley Hamilton, morning to you. Sally Jones, if I didn't call your name earlier, morning, everybody. Right? Narain Panchu joining us from Canada as well. Jagnarain Edwards. Okay, I catch everybody as much as I could. Anyway, so like I said, we have three counselors joining us in a few to discuss some of the the word I almost use for what goes on at City Hall. My uncle Ronald uses it a lot. It ends in a re, but that's it, right? But the amount of nonsense that goes on at City Hall is unfathomable. But we're gonna jump the gun on that. We're going to look at this. So PNC released a press statement yesterday, which was aimed at assessing the government's mid-year report for 2024. I don't know how many of you had a chance to read it. It doesn't have much substance anyway, but still to get your own perspective on what they were trying to put over, you can take a read. It might corrupt your brain with the nonsense that they're sharing with you, but still, nevertheless, in short, the coalition has criticized the PPP government's 2024 mid-year report, arguing that it fails to improve the lives of ordinary Guyanese and only benefits PPP allies. Now, I'm just going to skim over some of the key points that they raised in the statement. So they touched on the food import bill, with a claim that the report is silent on efforts to reduce Guyana's food import bill, even though the country committed to a 25% reduction by 2025 as a part of CARICOM's initiative. They also looked at economic growth versus income. despite the reported economic growth of 49.7%, there was a claim that public servants and teachers have seen little income improvement, leading to disappointment and strikes. And before I even continue, I maintain, and you can check it, teachers have gotten much more under PPPC administrations than any APNU PNC administration that there ever was. Financially, non-salary benefits, and this may fall into non-salary benefits, but I'd like to add another category in terms of upskilling themselves. The ability to upskill themselves through government initiatives, which are free of cost. Gold. You understand? They touched on the non-oil economy. The PNC team is contending that oil revenues are not being used effectively to boost other sectors of the Guyanese economy, citing poor infrastructure planning. So could you imagine someone who had no infrastructure planning complaining about poor infrastructure planning and limited access to credit and land? Y'all could believe this? Limited access to credit and land. President Ali has worked out arrangements with the banking system. Darn, just a second, people. I didn't realize I switched this thing. Right? Work out arrangements with the banking sector to lower interest rates and things like that, so Guyanese can access loans to build their homes. Look at the amount of house lots that have been disbursed already. Right? And they're talking about persons don't have access to loans and land. Just the other day, the ministers of housing, Kroll and Rodriguez, had their second dream realized activity in Region 3. I'm going off on the side here a little bit, right? And their second dream realized activity in Region 3. And I remember, because I walked around with the minister, as she was talking to persons there who were going to collect their titles, who were going to pull to see which house lot they would be allotted and things like that. She then went around the side where there were banks, insurance companies. The banks were even coming to the podium to share the information with people who may not have known that, hey, there's a different rate. These are the facilities available to you. Check us out, whatnot. So the claims that are being made by the opposition are usually unfounded. They're always unfounded. I'm not even going to say usually. You never get an accusation and then evidence to back it up with. And in this case, we don't need evidence. Because how could an APNU, AFC, anybody, PNC, anybody talk about poor infrastructural planning? Their infrastructural agenda 2050 to 2020, you cannot even say it was dwarfed by the current administration's agenda, because it is so much bigger. It has so much more facets in terms of the infrastructure agenda that is now being pursued. At no point in time during 2015 to 2020 did we envision having a Heroes Highway, despite whatever claims Ubraj Narayan wants to make between 2015 to 2020. We had no inclination that there would have been a Hero Highway there. The people on the west side had no idea that there'd be a schooner to crane bypass. So how could a party that practically did nothing infrastructural wise, no turn and see, that a party who has done so much in part of the time, this party has no proper infrastructural agenda, right? So where was I? So they touched on corruption and mismanagement. No, the PNC accused the government of losing tens of billions. Imagine the people who owe billions accusing people who anyway. When the councillors come. When the councillors come, it is ridiculous. You hear me? So the PNC accused the government of losing tens of billions to corruption and inefficiency, exacerbating risk to the economy despite IMF recommendations for stronger financial management. Right? They touch on inflation. The PNC claimed that the government's reported inflation of 4% is inaccurate and underrepresents the actual inflation, particularly on food prices, which they estimate to have risen by 20%. These is probably else low numbers. So you got to take it with not a pinch, a spoon of salt. You understand? With a spoon of salt, not a pinch. Because if you take a pinch, you might end up in a pinch. You understand? You might end up in a pinch. They went on to talk about the labor market data, criticizing the absence of updated labor force surveys since 2021, arguing that the government lacks reliable data on employment. The people who created unemployment. 7,000 plus sugar workers, 2,000 plus CSOs, cripple the logging industry, cripple the mining industry. And in those are industries, people who are supportive of the PNC, especially those who live in places like Linden, because most of the youths in Linden either get into GGMC or Guyana Forestry Commission or work in the sector in some way or form. Cripple those industries. I think I remember a time the Guyana Forestry Commission under the coalition government had money to pay its staff, which was unheard of under any other PPP administration, unheard of, right? So could you imagine they are to close down the call center in Linden? Did nothing but lock down the country when it was COVID. Didn't put any systems in place for remote learning, remote working, nothing, just lock it down. Everybody stay home. Right? And then finally, lack of planning. They were contending, the PNC that is, they're contending that the report doesn't mention supplementary budgets, which the opposition sees as evidence of poor planning and ad hoc decision making. Aren't these the same people who complain when the government comes for supplementary? Somebody tell me, please. Aren't these the same people that complain when the government does come for supplementary? No, they're saying they see no supplementary. It's like you can't win with the PNC. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Now, in relation to what these points that were raised by the PNC, I cannot sit here and not offer a counter view or give you a different perspective. Now, let's look at the record economic growth. Now, Guyana's real GDP grew by an impressive, as I mentioned before, 49.7% in the first half of 2024, significantly surpassing the projections of the national budget. Importantly, the non-oil economy also grew by 12.6%, demonstrating that the country's development is not solely reliant on the oil industry. The expansion spans various sectors, including agriculture, forestry, fisheries, construction, which all showed strong growth. I want to jump to agriculture and security because I hear my guests they have arrived. Now, contrary to claims of stagnation in food import reduction, The government has prioritized agriculture through significant investments. The agriculture sector grew by 17.9%, largely due to improved infrastructure, such as drainage and irrigation, farm to market roads. None of these things the farm administration thought were important. Now, the government continues its commitment to reducing Guyana's food import bill, aligning with the CARICOM's target to cut imports by 25% by 2025. Now, quickly, let's jump to the inflation rate. Now, while the PNCR APNU questions the inflation rate, the official figures for inflation is 4% for the period from June 2023 to June 2024. That is the official rate. So unless Elson Low and some of the mathematicians they have there can come up with some official figure other than what is there, have a seat, man. Have a seat. So though the opposition is arguing that the food prices have risen significantly, the government data suggests that inflation remains manageable. You understand? And also they engage in concerted efforts to stabilize the food prices. And again, I mentioned to you, there is the case of unscrupulous businessmen. Not all, some. Now, the PPPC government is committed to increasing salaries of public servants. However, the economic management is balanced to ensure sustainable long-term wage growth without destabilizing the economy. The ongoing economic boom and robust revenue from oil and other sectors will facilitate gradual wage increases that are more sustainable. You've heard the vice president say this. We've heard the president say this. So, and again, I reiterate, the teachers who they mention, if you do the research, they have always gotten more under PPPC administration. Always. In relation to corruption and economic management, the opposition's allegations of widespread corruption lacks concrete evidence in the normal fashion with them. Make an allegation, nothing to back it up. In fact, the government's continued strong economic performance and strategic investments in sectors beyond oil reflects sound management and adherence to the IMF's recommendation for robust public financial systems. Finally, before I go to my guests, the councillors there from City Hall, I wanted to talk a little bit about the labor force data. Now, the claim that the government has not conducted any labor force surveys since 2021 is not accurate. In its mid-year report, the Ministry of Finance outlined that the manpower studies are being conducted to address sectors' specific employment needs, which is a part of a broader strategy to adapt to changing economic demands. The government has also ramped up investment in technical and vocational training through the Board of Industrial Training to equip the workforce with the skills needed in key sectors such as construction, agriculture, and manufacturing. The government has implemented policies to support job creation and skill development, ensuring that the country can meet the increasing demands for skilled laborers, particularly in the oil and gas sector, as well as expanding the non-oil economy. The Small Business Development Fund and other entrepreneur support programs further bolster the labor market by encouraging job creation in small and medium enterprise. This is something that was not taking place under a coalition administration. Close down this, break down that, sell out, scrap out. That was their priority. So for the PNC to release a statement touching on the issues that they touch on, No shame. That is what I'm saying. No shame whatsoever. Anyway, guys, let's move on. So, as I told you, yesterday there was statutory meeting at the City Hall there. And today we're going to be talking with Councillor Alfonso de Armas. We also have veteran councillor, I shouldn't just say councillor, senior councillor, Dion Young. And also we have a regular familiar face, Councillor Stephen Jacobs. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Morning. Good
Good
morning,
morning, Courdel, and good morning to your viewers.
Right, Stephen, you go watch your mic at mute. But anyway,
morning.
First of all, morning. First of all, let's jump right in. Councillor Young, you asked a pretty pertinent question yesterday. You asked a very pertinent question yesterday.
And I can't get the answer up to today. And I still can't get the answer up to today.
Oh my goodness!
I asked a simple question, and the answers are next question. Everybody jump up and want to eat up. And you know, I asked a simple question, and the question that I asked was based on a decision we took at council before now.
Right.
Councillor Saul said, look, we must seek demand notices from people who owe the council.
Right.
There is evidence out there that particular address owe the council, and all I ask is, look, that we send demand notices. That's all I ask. And it went chaos break loose, all hell break loose.
No, Councillor Jacobs, after Councillor Young would have asked this question, based on my assessment, it seems like the mayor was attacking you, trying to label you as an informant and all kinds of madness, man. What was going on with that?
I mean, that was okay. The mayor and councillors from that side, they're basically known for that. But the vice president provided the information, and we acted from there. I mean, it was a simple question by Mr. Young that he posed. And, you know, a number of moons ago, a number of statutory meetings ago, the council made a decision by majority, obviously, to bring forth the demand notices or the amount owed by government agencies, organizations. So I asked the question there for, you know, the political parties and also this particular incorporation in particular for us to bring forth their demand notice and the amount of money is owed, right? And the mayor at that time said, yes, we'll bring everything to the table, but I'm not pretty sure if it was recorded as a decision. We're yet to see, because we would know that the amount of money is owed on the land at Congress Place, what it can do for the city. And the vice president actually mentioned it in terms of how we can service the council or the city of Georgetown for about 3 years.
Yeah. Now, Councillor de Armas, the question I wanted to pose to you was, now, given that it seems to me that City Hall doesn't want to acknowledge this company or acknowledge who is dwelling on the property itself. Could you speak to
I beg to differ. Councillor de Armas, just let me take a little piece here. I beg to differ.
Go ahead.
Courdel, it's not that the administration never deny the company. All the question that I pose, they try to swing the question up and asking it a different way. And I keep saying that is not the question I'm asking. I never asked nothing about the PNC. I didn't ask nothing about that. And they're asking the admin. It's like if someone say, you know, Courdel owe this money, and they're asking a next name. They're not asking the name of the companies in.
Right. No,
yeah,
so go ahead, Councillor.
So Councillor Young is completely correct.
The fact of the matter is that there is an entity out there that owes $6.7 billion in taxes.
$1 billion, yeah.
And those taxes need to be paid. I think it's a generally accepted fact that there's an entity out there with an address that may be familiar to many on the opposing side, that is registered at that address, that owes this money. And as the vice president said at his press conference last week, that money, based off of last year's expenditures, could run the city for 3 years. So all this semantics and all these games that they're playing with the name and all of this is irrelevant. What is relevant is that there's an entity out there that owes $6.7 billion, and a cash-strapped city needs these funds to provide essential services to the residents of Georgetown. Right, and when you combine this with their newly passed institutional rate policy for political parties, it is amazing to me that they're out there crying wolf, not crying wolf, but they're out there bemoaning the fact that the city's cash strapped and people and organizations aren't paying their taxes, while there is a blatant attempt on their side to exempt their parties from paying their fair share, and to obfuscate and be obtuse when it comes to the matter of $6.7 billion that is owed to the council. What is relevant is that this money is owed, and if the money is paid, it would do wonders for the city of Georgetown. That is what is relevant.
Yeah. Councillor Jacobs, I heard yesterday you suggested that before this new rate or policy is action, these, what's the right word? These agencies or companies or property holders or whoever it is that owe these taxes, clear them before moving forward.
Yes, Courdel. It was directed mainly to these political parties, because the institutional rate policy isn't anything new, and it's clear in 2801 by section 214, which stipulates clear provision for these sort of NGOs. And this institutional rate policy was obviously adopted years ago. But to bring political parties into that category of being a social welfare organization, it's grossly wrong. And you cannot justify bringing a political party, because the core of fundamental principles of NGOs versus political parties differ in so many ways. So I asked the question because, I mean, we fought very, very hard for this policy. This is the policy directed to political parties and not institutional rates. For it to, don't pass, basically. It will still pass. So the question I asked and posted yesterday, or to try and advise and make sure, is for political parties to make sure that they pay what is owed to the council before this is actually implemented. And I basically got no answer to that. And this is a question I actually asked even before, while debating that policy. Right. So, I mean, we understand that there were obviously ulterior motives, and it was very clear after the announcement by the vice president.
Yeah. Now, Councillor Young, I want to pose a situation to you and get your response so that the Livewire viewers can have a clear understanding of where we stand in relation to these rates and taxes that are owed. So, I, Courdel Jones, have a property in the capital city. I sold that property to Stephen Jacobs. Now, that property, whilst it was in my ownership, I didn't pay taxes, and I now owe an exorbitant amount. Now, Stephen Jacobs would have paid me for the property and taken ownership. what does 2801 say about those taxes that now are still on the property that is now owned by Stephen Jacobs?
My brother, the thing is, let us look at the simplest something. If somebody rent an apartment that owes a light bill, the person who comes into that apartment and they go to GPL, they gotta foot that bill.
Right.
And that's as simple as this.
Does 2801 officially speak to the new owner of the property having to pay that bill, the rates and taxes?
2801 speak to that, of course. And we do this item at council. Who owes council money gotta pay it.
Yeah. So
we had an incident. We had an incident a couple of a while ago where there were somebody who bought a property and there's a construction contract going on the property, but the taxes are owed. And administration was ordered to find out what's going on there and send notices to them.
So, right. So what he's saying is actually correct. 2801 is clear on owner-occupier. So if in the case that you can't, or the owner is no longer there, whoever occupies that plot or building and it's clear. Right. So it's actually taking us back to Congress Place. So if it's in the name of an incorporated company, who occupies it now?
My point exactly.
Right.
No matter who occupies, no matter what. Right.
Exactly. 2801 is very clear on that. So I think that answers it.
So given that fact, why would the mayor not want to? Why the uproar? And now the focus is no longer on the monies owed, but how did this information get out that the money was owed? No,
we're not looking at what's owed to council. Now we're looking. Our discussion is, look, we gotta punish this body and we gotta punish the body. No. We ain't gotta punish nobody. We gotta punish the people who owe the council, not those persons who trying to bring in money. Not those to bring in money. And look, what the council should be doing and what we should be glad as council is that Mr. Jagdio or Vice President Jagdio have done some of the research for us and showing we who owe we money. Because nobody don't know who owe we and nobody don't know who owe and who got this and who got that who owe. So we should give Mr. Jagdio, council should give Mr. Jagdio an award for that, for say, hey, y'all got $6 billion out there, y'all can go and collect.
Now, stepping away from this 6.7 billion. Yesterday at council, and I'll give Council De Armas a chance to start on this one. We heard of a contractor submitting some invoice for works that were not approved. And share with us, Council De Armas. Explain to us what went on there.
So, I think all of Georgetown knows that the cemetery is in dire straits. There weren't many spots for burial left. And so Councillor Saul, in his capacity as chair of the finance committee, and now keep in mind that he's the chair of the finance committee, he wanted to have emergency works done. So that's how it started. Emergency works done to clear space for new burial spots, right?
Right.
And brought a contract. So first of all, he wanted the works done without any sort of contract or anything of the sort. We insisted that there be a contract. They did up a contract. It was a very deficient contract, but we worked together and made the contract a little bit more forceful. The contract was for $1.2 million. So the work was done, and there was a slight variation of $300,000. Now the contract stipulates, and procedure stipulates, in procurement law, procurement established standards stipulate that for when there's a variance, you need to get written approval from the engineer, right, from our side. Now, this wasn't done for the $300,000 variance. The contractor went ahead and did it. Fine, it's a minor variance. But then it turns out that there was another variance of $1.5 million. So that is equal to the sum of the original contract, or more than the sum of the original contract that he went and did without written approval from the engineer, right? There was no quantity surveying done to actually quantify the amount of work that was done. And he presented this bill to the city. He went ahead and did this work without any of these procedures being followed. And Councillor Saul, in his capacity as chair of the finance committee, wanted the city to go ahead and pay that sum. I just want to go back to one of the last audits that were done at City Council in 2015. One of the things that was highlighted by the audit was this very thing. There were hundreds of millions of dollars worth of contracts that were done right there at the cemetery in 2015 with similar issues. There were no supporting documents. Signed contracts were absent. Approved vouchers were absent. And so it seems that we want to go back to this same nonsense. This culture of opacity, of financial opacity, of lack of transparency and accountability. It must end. But it seems as if this culture is embedded in some of the councillors from the other side, and that is why I'm so happy that we're here. That we're here to emphasize a culture of accountability, a culture of transparency, and a culture of doing the right thing. The procurement process is not a simple process for a reason. There are checks and balances, and these checks and balances must be followed at every turn. They must be followed. Right. When that process breaks down, that's when the city devolves into the sort of financial mess that we have now.
Yeah. Councillor Jacobs, I wanted to come to you because I noticed you yesterday. Go ahead.
Councillor Jacobs was at that finance committee meeting with me, and maybe he can. Well, I want to ask him if there's anything I said there where if I misspoke or my recollection of events, if there's a variation in my recollection of events, just for clarity's sake, for transparency's sake.
Councillor Jacobs.
So initially, Courdel, and I mentioned it yesterday in council in our statutory meeting. You often hear councillors from the other side complain about our councillors, as in PPC councillors, trying to stymie the progress.
Right.
But I would like to make it, lucidly clear that we do not at any time try to do that. What we try to do is make sure that the right procedure is followed for accountability and transparency. Having said that, first of all, when this contract or the talk of this contract came forward, it was done by one said councillor, Councillor Saul, who I refer to as the Messiah, as somebody who claimed or proclaimed to be someone of great principle and with great integrity and character. Someone who believes they're speaking from on top of the mountains most of the time. But what happened there is
whatever he's trying to give this impression that whatever he says is sacrosanct.
Thank you. So what happened there? So he by himself decided with the assistant engineer at that time to do some works in the cemetery. And what they did is to survey the entire area that they would want to create space for burials. They then went to hand-picking contractors, and this was done between two individuals. And I would like people to know that I am also a member of the City Works Committee. And if you go through 2801, it clearly speaks to council making these decisions. It speaks to emergency works and the procedure that needs to be followed. So first of all, if you like to engage a contractor, it has to be a decision from council. So it should not be a decision from a particular councillor or a particular engineer. So that process wasn't obviously followed. It was, in a way, to me, bullying the system. And I continue to mention to them, it's not that work shouldn't be done, but there's a procedure. Let's just make sure that we follow the procedure. It's as simple as that.
Right.
So again, this wasn't done. We went to this particular meeting, myself and Councillor Diamos, we went to this meeting. And to my surprise, at a joint finance and city works committee, I've never seen this before. I actually thought, with the exception of our councillors, that it was actually a full statutory meeting. 90% of the other persons from the other side came.
What?
So it was obvious. So what they wanted to do, and the tone of that particular councillor at that meeting was a bullying tone. So I stood up and I state what are my thoughts and how it should be done. And the decision at that time, I must give it's not very often that I give me a mentor some compliments, but at that time, after we stated our what our discrepancy or what we didn't appreciate, they actually revert to having this decision round robin, because what they wanted to do is have the decision from the standing committee and then allow the administration to act on it. And if we go through 2801 and understand the mandate of a standing committee or the powers of a standing committee, there is absolutely none in terms of mandating the administration to do anything. Standing committee is just committees that are in continuity. Council is a continuous organization, and these committees are to be in place during every single council formation. So I know I'm long, but let me get to what happened with this particular contractor. In the contract that was prepared, it showed clearly in variations that any variation works need to be passed by the city engineer or town clerk. This wasn't done. At the site visit, myself, Councillor Ellis, Councillor Fraser, the town clerk, and also the city engineer at that time, or the city engineer acting at that time, Mr. Boston, and the assistant engineer, Mr. Hollingsworth. We were all there. Mr. Hollingsworth explained to us that there are variations. The town clerk at that time stated that she had no idea of variations, and this needed to be deliberated or passed by herself and the city engineer before this was done. So right away, it was a breach of contract. So now, yes, I went on ground and I saw the works, and I must commend the contractor and also the assistant engineer for creating space for burials, because this is something, council has been hiding for quite a long time. They've been out of space, but it was done. But a mere $300,000 in variance that can provide 500 burial spots, I can give and take with that. Right. Give and take with that. But now you're going to bring another variation for $1.5 million. It clearly shows that, something is not right there.
Yeah, it's a whole new project.
You pick a contractor, you bring it, and you add in variance. So something is definitely wrong. I don't want to say. I allow persons to judge for themselves on what is happening.
Yeah. Now, Councillor Young, I want to come back to you because you have been on the council for some time. Is this, and it's been a PNC council since Noah was a Boy Scout.
Forever.
That you have been seeing
but it will soon end. It will soon end.
I agree. Is this something you've seen over the years being a councillor? This kind of maneuvering by the persons who are in majority on the council?
It happened before. But this time it's more blatant.
Okay.
It happened before, but it's more blatant this time. Let me say this. And a couple in the last council, we had a person that was supposed to be cleaning the cemetery voluntary. That was one understanding we had.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we hear we owe this person X amount of money for cleaning. We get, I don't clear how we end up getting it wrong, but it ended up still, I think we still owe the person money.
Wow.
To come and make a similar mistake now after 2015, during the 15 and 16, when we had the last audit, and to show you there was a record to show, look, this and a particular cemetery, these kind of things happen, and it's $100 and something million that can't be accounted for.
Wow.
Now we're going back to a contract that we give somebody to do some work. Yeah, in most contracts, there will be a sum, they call a contingency in that contract.
Right.
But you can't get a contract for 1.2, and at the end of the contract, there's a variation that is bigger than the original contract. Can't be at all. It can't be at all. Look, I am not saying that the person didn't do a good job and all this kind of thing. Yeah, but at council, we chastise one of our own engineers for spending a couple of dollars on the market.
Right.
And come back with another estimate for cement because this happened to the cement, and they should have buy grout and should have buy tin set and not cement. And we went on and pulled the whole 9 yards. Now an outsider come, man, we could track the money that the engineer spend, and we look at the reasons that he gave. We could track the. Not saying we can't track the person money, the person job that they did, but then we cannot allow contractors or nobody to take advantage and go for a free ride. After the town clerk would have said to them in the first instance, look, I don't know about this $300,000 variation you're going with, and nobody should do anything, go to any variance without it being cleared. And then you went to 1.5, you're asking for trouble for yourself.
Yeah.
But
no,
these kind of things that the councils try to bring, and look, you just know there's something wrong. You just see all these people who claim more to be righteous and more righteous and more righteous, they jump up on their heels and represent all the wrong. All the wrong.
Yeah. Councillor Jacobs, yesterday you were opposed to the hiring of a consultant, public relations consultant by the council. You were suggesting that they employ someone more permanent, like a PR officer, like somebody working in the council. Talk to us about this and your reasoning behind it.
So before I go, allow my fellow council Yarmos to speak on this one, and then I'll finish up.
Sure. Well, Councillor Yarmos, talk to us a bit about the suggestion by the mayor to hire a PR consultant instead of a PR officer, staff of the council. Mike.
I'll be frank, Courdel. The reason that they want to, and this is my feeling, and I'm certain that my fellow councillors agree with me. The reason they want, that they're pushing for a PR person is so that they can spin the discoveries and the truth that me and my fellow PPP councillors are bringing to light, right?
Right.
For a very long time, a lot of these battles, let's say, over the city were waged in council, and the people of Georgetown were kept in the dark, right? Unless you attended a statutory meeting or happened to read some minutes, then you wouldn't really know what's going on in council. But we've taken the fight. We think that sunlight is the best disinfectant. And so we've taken the fight, and we've made the decision to let the people of Georgetown know at every turn what is going on in council, so that they can be better informed and they can make better decisions moving forward.
Right.
So that brings us to now the council's or the mayor's push to hire a PR consultant and not a PR officer. So in my mind, and this is something that I expressed in council yesterday, is that a PR officer is somebody that is working full-time with council, full-time for the council.
Right.
And so therefore we get better value for money. That PR officer is working full-time for the council and is on call whenever he's needed. Sorry, not on call, but is available at his office to get his work done. A PR consultant, on the other hand, is more likely than not going to cost the council more for fewer hours worked, for fewer deliverables, right? But there's a big reason why they don't want a PR officer, even though the council is cash strapped, can ill afford this, and a PR officer is going to provide better value for money. A big reason is that a PR consultant is not going to be answerable to anybody but council, and by that I mean the PNC council, since they have a majority there. A PR officer beholden to the administration, right? So that the mayor and the council, since we're not an executive council, or there's no executive mayor, will have less power.
Control. Yeah.
So once there's a PR officer, then he does his work, right? He's not beholden to a party or anything of the sort. PR consultant, though, which is more expensive, costs the council more, and provides less value, now is not going to be under the control of the administration, but is going to be answerable directly to Mayor Mentor.
Yeah.
Right? Sorry, but exactly. I just want to add the administration and by extension the local government commission. Right, the local government commission. And that's what they're fair. That's what they want a spin doctor. Let's call a spade a spade. They want a spin doctor. They want to be able to spin the discoveries and the truth that we're bringing to the public by this spin doctor that is not answerable to a local government commission, and that is not answerable to as much as answerable to administration as they ought to be.
Right. Go ahead,
So I definitely agree with everything my fellow councillors said, but I want persons to understand that this PR consultant that they're speaking to isn't anything new. This is something that they decided on even before in previous councils, and that particular person only lasted about 6 months because of, I would assume, not getting what they want from that particular person. But also council had a permanent public relations officer, and after a number of years and obviously being bashed by councillors, that person resigned. So you had a department where you had a PR.
The person was forced out. The person was forced out.
Right. And then you also had the current guy who's working, Mr. Delonco Duggan, who's working.
The photographer.
Right.
The photographer.
But it's obviously to swing the truths, just like my fellow councillor said. And, if we have somebody who's there permanent at the main city council, they would understand the ins and outs of the main city council, understand when they need to go and do this, because they'll be offered all the information there on ground. So the engineer department could come to them and say, listen, we're going out here, we just finished this work, so that you can showcase. But if you have a consultant who you'll have to call, they're probably on the next job. How do you right? So that will definitely pose some sort of difficulty. But, most of these decisions obviously have ulterior motives. It's just, it's played out, and you'll see it unfolding as time goes on.
Yeah. Now, Councillor Young, I do remember a period where there was Miss Lewis there at the Public Relations Department. And I think before her, Royston Drakes was the Public Relations Officer there at City Council. Why do you think this move, aside from what the two councils would have added, this move to have a consultant instead of having an officer that works with the administration?
You know, there's this saying, he who pays the piper calls the tune. You know the saying? He who pays the piper calls the tune.
Yeah.
Firstly, if we employ a public relation officer, that person will fall under the town clerk's administration.
Mm.
And that person got to do the research and present to town clerk. It's very hard for them to tamper with what the person would have, because it can come from the person to town clerk and then it can come to council.
Right.
And you will have a 95% accuracy.
Right.
When there is this consultant who could get a call from somebody, hey, walking by. You gotta refuse the $6 billion there and say, well, and you look and you will find out.
Right.
And it's already have the phone. Even though it's going to be false, it's out there.
Yeah.
You could see that naturally. Look, they want something that they could manipulate, and we're saying this. No. Yes, we need a public relation person, a public relation officer, but it must be something that council own, not for us to be putting money in a company for no purpose. Like a public relation officer who could serve the citizenry of Georgetown, who could serve council properly, who could give good accountability. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah. Now, guys, finally, before I let you guys go, I heard during the meeting, the town clerk was stating to the mayor that, we have to go through procedure and approval from the local government commission. I heard the mayor say there's no local government commission. Do anyone of you know what he's talking about, or is it that he said he doesn't recognize the local government commission?
So
look, let me allow the citizens of Georgetown to know this. There is a local government commission, just like when the president announced an election date, there or after election, there's this we call a lame, in America they call it a lame duck period. The local government commission currently is not people. They didn't formally themselves together yet. But there is our constitution allows us to have that.
Right.
But it is not people currently. So I want to take what the mayor said for nothing serious. Because the mayor himself knows there's a local government commission. And he knows we could join around and we gotta go back to the local government commission when there are people. And we gotta take all these things. Yes, there are certain things we are allowed to do and something we are allowed not to do. So we gotta go down the road.
Yeah.
We gotta go down the road.
Yeah, so
Councillor Jacobs.
Yeah, just in closing, yes, there's a local government commission that is not people currently, but in my understanding, according to law, the secretary can make a few decisions while the commission is being put together, because there's a makeup in the commission that surrounds persons, nominees from the opposition side, so there's a big makeup, and you'll have to obviously go through that process. Political parties are obviously given time to put together their names to then bring forth, and then ratification obviously by the president, and then confirmation.
Right.
So what is currently happening is that council is sending recommendations to the local government commission, and some of those recommendations are obviously being approved. But council cannot act on their own in terms of approving any position, and this was actually corrected yesterday, because a number of times during these meetings, you hear the mayor, you also hear Councillor Hines saying that it's not people, we need to go ahead with our business. Yes, but at the end of the day, we still need to answer to the local government commission. The council is not an autonomous body, it's a semi-autonomous body, so we need to make sure that we follow the rules and procedures and everything that governs local governance. So having said that and clarifying that, I just want to urge the people and urge the citizens of Georgetown to continue to listen and pay attention to what's happening in City Hall, and understand who essentially has policies that will develop, or who actually has that will to develop Georgetown, and also make sure that the citizens are in a better place, receiving services that the mayor and city council is obviously mandated to carry out. So that is all I want to urge the people. They'll see us coming here and fighting on a number of occasions. We take time out on our day, from our day's activities to engage our citizens and also engage in main city council work and fight at the level of council, so that they can have a better Georgetown and by extension a better Guyana. So thanks.
Right. So Councillor De Armas, I'll give you the final word before we wrap up.
No, I have similar. I want to echo similar sentiments to Councillor Jacobs. I want to. We're committed. The PPPC councillors are committed to shining a very bright light on the activities of council, so that the residents of Georgetown are better aware of what is happening and the decisions that are being taken, for better or for worse, in council. And so we'll continue to update them through your show, through the media, and through public in-person interactions. But it is important that there be sunlight on the activities of council.
Yeah.
Right.
Councillors, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to join me this morning. Councillor Young, Councillor De Armas, Councillor Jacobs, continue your fight there at City Hall, and do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so that's what's happening down there at City Hall, guys. Oh, I didn't get to talk to the councillors about this, but they'll be putting in the same arrangement at Starbrook Market with the cameras and the viewing screen and that kind of thing. That will be also done at the border market area pretty soon. So that's something to look forward to in terms of the vendors and persons accessing that market for, your supplies and ration. Feel safer, an initiative by the Guyana Police Force and councillors there at City Hall. Right, guys, that's all the time we have for today. Continue being good Guyanese out there. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, same time, same place, as we continue to connect the Livewire. Right, be safe on the roadways, and as I usually say before I go, it's all about peace, it's all about love, it's all about one guy.
We are a peaceful people, struggle as we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places